So in the last class, this half of the figure was drawn by me, and we are going to complete what are the microstructure changes during the annealing process. Hypoeutectoid and eutectoid steel and hypereutectoid steel. So here, this part you have drawn. This is the hypoeutectoid steel. Okay. Here, this is point number 1. We have taken 0.2% carbon steel. 0.2% carbon steel. The microstructure at room temperature is alpha plus P. So if you are heating it above 727, this is a one temperature line. As soon as you cross this border, this is a 0.2. At 0.2, alpha remains alpha. P is converted into austenite. So last time I told, wherever there is a perlite, that is converted to austenite. So we have shown alpha plus gamma. This is a A3 line. As soon as you cross this line, no alpha also is stable above A3. So BCC and BCC plus orthorhombic, whatever may be the mixture, it will convert into only FCC, and only FCC is austenite. That is at point number 3. It is shown here. If you go on, it is at point number 4. It is again FCC. But what is the difference between 3 and 4? Difference between 3 and 4 is this fourth number structure is very coarse structure. So what is the heating temperature for full annealing? Just turn the page back and see. A3 plus 20 to 40. So if you take 0.2% carbon steel, this is 0.2% carbon steel. So for 0.2% carbon steel, if you draw a vertical line where it cuts the A3, above that 20 to 40. So it will be at 0.3. This is our desirable heating temperature. From this point, here, you will get microstructure at point number 6. So I am writing here slow cooling. So if you cool it very slowly, that treatment 1, 2, 3, 6. I'll write here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 6. This cycle is a desirable cycle. So heating above A3 temperature by 20 to 40 degree, soaking there for sufficient time so as to obtain homogeneous austenite, and then cooling slowly, you will get fine alpha plus perlite. Now, if you will not follow this cycle, what will happen? Check here. So let us go ahead. Before go to the full cycle, let us go to partial cycle. So 1, 2. Structure is alpha plus gamma. And if I cool slowly from here, 1, 2, 5. This is also giving alpha plus P. But here, both alpha and P are finer. Here, there will be little coarser, as like previous structure, similar to it. Why? Because you have not produced homogeneous austenite. So if you compare property of 5 and 6, both are having alpha plus P. But sixth number microstructure gives better properties. That's why full annealing of hypoeutectoid steel is carried out always above A3 and not between A1 and A3. Suppose I want to heat it at higher temperature. I go to point number 4. So from point number 4, if you cool slowly, you will get complicated structure, alpha plus P. And it is having poor properties. That's why 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 is not desirable. Only 1, 2, 3, 6 is desirable. Understood? So please draw these left hand side structures. Or left hand side only, yeah? Don't turn right side. I will explain you. Whether left hand side is over, Abhinay? Somebody reply. Hello? Are you getting my point? Nilesh Kadam, roll number 21.
Yes, sir.
Whether figure is over, left hand side?
Yes, sir. Over. Sir, that
So,
5, 6, 7 is visible.
Roll number 17. Actually, I have given responsibility to him. Okay. Any other student? Roll number 14. Pratik. Pratik Deshmukh.
Yes,
Whether
sir.
your figure is over?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, this is the microstructure change for hypoeutectoid steel. Let us see for hypereutectoid steel. Now come and pay attention. I will give time. You are at point A. So this is point, that is eutectoid. I will take 1.1% carbon. So this is 1.1% carbon is hypereutectoid steel. At A, will be the microstructure. Here is 100% perlite, left hand side alpha plus P, right hand side P plus Fe3C. So this is Fe3C and this is perlite. You are going to carry out annealing. So as per the standard procedure, you must obtain austenite. So A, B and C. So if you go at C structure, where the austenite is produced, actually A4 temperature slope is higher than A3 temperature slope. So as slope of A3 temperature is higher, so A3 or A4 plus 20 to 40 if you take, it will be little higher temperature, and where you will get coarse gamma. So you can show point C here. So at this point C, the austenite will be little coarser than at this point. So if you compare both austenite, this austenite will be coarser, and if you cool it slowly, it will give again thick network of cementite. Here, thick network of Fe3C and P, A, B, C, and D. This point is D. And now, if you pull from here, you will get globular perlite. globular cementite plus perlite. I will explain what is this. So reason may be asked. Annealing of hypereutectoid steel is carried out always above A1 and not above A3. E. Pay attention. If we follow the full cycle for hypereutectoid steel, that is A, B, C, D, your microstructure will be thick network of cementite. And if you follow partial cycle A, B, E, microstructure will be globular cementite. This round part which I have shown is globular cementite and perlite. If you compare properties of E and D, E always give better properties than D. Now our aim is to obtain desired properties. Which cycle you follow is second priority. So if by following partial cycle we are getting desirable properties, why to go for this full cycle? Again it will be costlier. So that's why a reason is asked. Hypoeutectoid are carried out with full annealing, that is formation of homogeneous austenite. But hypereutectoid steel never carried out with full annealing. For them, always there is a partial annealing. This is a question. How to write the answer? Answer will be, if we carry out full annealing of hypereutectoid steel, the slow cooling will give thick network of cementite. Thick network of cementite is having poor mechanical properties because once crack is propagated, it will continue throughout the object and there may be chances of breaking of the complete object. However, if we follow partial cycle, the microstructure will be globular cementite and perlite. Globular cementite structure have better mechanical properties than thick network of cementite. Hence, annealing of hypereutectoid steel is carried out by partial process, not by full process. Understood? I will dictate 3-4 line in short. By the time you draw the figure. So A, B, C, D not desirable. A, B, and E is desirable cycle. Draw this. Over. Please reply. Or Samruddhi?
Yes, sir.
May I erase this board?
Yes, sir. Over.
Okay. Now write the reason. I think I have dictated the question last time. Question: annealing of hyper-eutectoid steel is carried above A1 temperature and not above A3. Sorry, A4. Not above A4. Justification. Answer. When annealing of hyper-eutectoid steel is carried out above A4 temperature, comma, homogeneous austenite will be obtained but it is coarse, C-O-A-R-A-C, but it is coarse, full stop. Slow cooling of this coarse austenite, gives thick network of cementite. As shown at point D. So friends, when this question is asked, you have to draw this only half of the structure. That's why I have kept. It is not necessary to draw left hand side. So when this question is asked, you have to just draw full diagram, but don't show microstructure here. So only these 5 figures you have to draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So A, B, C, D. That's why I have written as shown in the point D. Full stop. The thick network of cementite is not desirable because it is having poor mechanical properties. Full stop. However, if the partial annealing is carried out comma it gives austenite plus globular cementite above A1. Austenite plus globular cementite above A1. And further, perlite plus globular cementite. Perlite plus globular cementite after slow cooling, as shown in point E. Full stop. The structure at point E is having better mechanical properties than thick network of cementite. Better mechanical properties than thick network of cementite. Full stop. Hence, annealing of hyperrotator steel is carried out above A1 and not above A3. This you can conclude the statement. Now, one more reason was told by me, and can you read that reason? Somebody whom I asked, Samruddhi, you have written it, na? Two more or one more reason for which I am supposed to answer it. Can
Yes,
you
sir.
read it? You read it.
Yes, sir.
Read that reason.
High carbon steel and alloy steels are marketed in spheroidized condition.
Write down everything.
Spheroidized condition.
Okay. Everybody please write down this. Second question. High carbon steels and alloy steels are marketed. Marketed म्हणजे विकणार, विकले जाणार. Spheroidized condition. This may also be asked for 3 or 4 marks. So before we go to that, you must understand what is the spheroidized structure. Pay attention. Actually, machinability is very important concept. When you are going to put any of the part on machine tool, you are going to cut it. So when cutting ability or cutting action will be there, the ability of material being cut is important, because the primary requirement for machinability is good machinability is workpiece must be softer than, or hardness of tool must be more than workpiece. I repeat, hardness of tool must be more than workpiece. Now, high carbon steels are having poor machinability and low carbon steels are also having poor machinability. Both are having poor machinability. Why? High carbon steels are having poor machinability by virtue of its hardness. Means if it is too hard, it is difficult to cut. Low carbon steel or mild steels also may cause the difficulty in machining, because there may be possibility of penetration of tool into the workpiece and chip formation process will not be desirable. If it is too soft, too means TOO, खूप जास्त soft असेल, in that case there is a possibility of poor machinability. So region of good machinability is always in between. So you can draw this figure. Region of better machinability. Or I will say optimum machinability. This is hardness and this is softness, and this is region of optimum machinability. Region of optimum machinability. What this figure indicates, if you are here, so your softness is more. Sorry, if you are in this side, your softness is less. Hello, am I audible? So if you are at this left side, means softness is less, means optimum machinability. As you are moving here, softness increases, machinability decreases. Same case, if you are at lower side, hardness is less, means you are in the optimum machinability region. If you move along this side, hardness is more, means you are outside the zone of optimum machinability. This is basic figure represented during maybe interviews or oral. Now, any of the steel's machinability, how to improve? There are a number of ways for which you can improve the strength or hardness of the component. Now, so I will dictate the reason systematically. So time to understand. If your steel is very soft, for example, one more reason in the terms of hardness, in heat treatment hardening, you will get it. Time being, remember, if steel is soft, you can't make it hard by heat treatment process. If you want to improve the machinability of very soft part, little softness should be reduced. I'm not saying increase the hardness. What I'm saying, if you want to increase the machinability, softness should be reduced. How to reduce? There are a number of ways. So little strength improvement and hardness improvement or brittleness improvement is required. It can be achieved by a number of ways. So you can make the microstructure changes from coarse perlite to fine perlite. So finer perlite will give better machinability than very coarse perlite. Now, if cold working will be carried out, in case of cold working also, little hardness increases. So softness decreases, little hardness or brittleness increases, machinability will be better. Now, this is not true for this case. Already your part is hard and you want to reach in optimum machinability region. Means hardness must be reduced. Hardness must be reduced. How to reduce the hardness? By making it little soft. So for this case, if your steel is already hard, you have to make it little soft by full annealing. That's why objective number second objective number. Just check second or third objective of full annealing. To increase the machinability of high carbon steel. So high carbon steels are very hard and difficult to machine. If you want to machine it, carry out the heat treatment full annealing, then little softness will be achieved by compromising the hardness, and then you can machine now easily. So both way, very soft steel, little hardness is required. Very hard steel, little softness is required, and you have to compromise it. So next line, make one chart. First, left hand side, type of steel, and right hand side, condition for optimum machinability. Condition for optimum machinability. So point number 1, mild steel in bracket up to 0.2% carbon. Up to 0.2% carbon. So if it is very soft, you want to reduce the softness. So cold working is one of the best option for it. Right hand side, cold working or cold worked state. Condition for optimum machinability is it must be in cold worked state so that you can machine it easily. That's why whatever bars available in the workshop, you have carried out the maybe job operations, turning, facing, grinding, whatever may be operations. That rod is manufactured by which treatment? In manufacturing process you have studied. Can anybody answer? This is interview question. The rods which are used as a raw material in the workshop are manufactured by dash dash manufacturing process. Tell me. Or Tillalai. Fast. Answer my question fast. I am asking, what is the manufacturing process for rods used in the workshop? Omkar Pawar. Can you answer? Who will answer willingly? Give stress to your brain. Omkar Pawar left the meeting when I asked the question. Rhythm Parmar. Rhythm.
Yes, sir.
Tell me the manufacturing process used for making of the rods in the workshop. You have used it for making the job by taking the piece on the cutting machine. Tell. You say at least no or yes something.
No, sir, I don't know.
There was question in manufacturing process. Suggest the suitable manufacturing process for the following. Check your old question papers. You might have also attended it. Nobody is able to answer. These rods are made by rolling operation. These are rolled bars. There are big rolls where the cross section is half of the cross section is half circle and half of the. You have seen different rolling operations. Square bars, angles, rods. These are made by rolling. So that is cold rolling. So in that case, your machinability. That's why you have good machinability. You are using that bar in the workshop. Second, low carbon steel. In bracket 0.2 to 0.3% carbon, 0.2 to 0.3% carbon. Dash. Now, good condition right hand side. Normalized state or normalize the condition. Now, what is normalizing is next lecture you will understand. So normalizing will increase little hardness by compromising the softness. Third, medium carbon steel 0.3 to 0.4. Third, medium carbon steel 0.3 to 0.4% carbon. Now for this steel, what will be the condition for optimum machinability? Now 0.3 to 0.4 means you are away from softness. You are in the hardened zone because medium carbon steel is a little harder than low carbon steel. So in that case, little reducing of the hardness is required. That's why full annealing. Full annealing is the condition for optimum machinability of such steel. Next, 0.4 to 0.6. 0.4 to 0.6. Now, this is also medium carbon steel, but it is a little higher range. So only full annealing is not sufficient. So here write full annealing plus 50% spheroidization. 50% spheroidization. I will explain what is spheroidization. That's why I have taken this table. And last one, 0.6 to 2% steel, 0.6 to 2% steel, and alloy steels. Alloy steels. This is very high carbon steel. At the same time, alloy steel is also harder. Good or condition for 100% spheroidization, right? 100% spheroidization. Next line. Spheroidizing or spheroidization annealing is the treatment in which lamellar perlite is converted into globular perlite by thermal cycling. Full stop. It is as shown below. Right. This is your lamellar perlite, and in this way, it will go on moving its shape. Draw the dark bubbles. So this gap is alpha and this round is cementite. Same way, gap is alpha and this is cementite. So this is by thermal cycling. Thermal cycling consists of normalizing, annealing, spheroidizing. Number of times heated above A1, soaked, cooled. Heated about A1, soaked, cooled. Continuous process is carried out number of times, and this is called as spheroidizing process. And it requires more time for conversion of this. And you will get, here you write lamellar perlite, and here globular perlite. What is last statement which you have written? Can anybody read? I have to continue randomly. I will continue the statement. What is previous statement? Samruddhi.
Yes, sir. Spheroidization is treatment in which laminar perlite is converted into globular perlite by thermal cycling.
Okay, it is as shown in figure. Next line. The globular perlite gives better machinability because of less disturbance for the motion of dislocation. I will explain what is this. Globular perlite cause less disturbance for motion of dislocations. Full stop. Hence, globular perlite gives better machinability. That's why alloy steels and high carbon steels. Are spheroidized before marketing. Now see, same figure. What is this dislocation? I explain you. When you are going to cut anything or deform anything, pay attention here. These are the layer of atoms, layer over the layer over the layer. Now when you are going to cut anything, somewhere atomic layers get cut, or when you are going to deform anything, somewhere atomic layers will slide over each other. So some space is required for breaking the atomic layers, and that space is always at dislocations. What is dislocation? This old syllabus, this chapter was there, which is removed. For extra information, you can read this chapter from Kodigire book. Dislocations or imperfections in the crystal. Always we are saying this is BCC, this is FCC, this is orthorhombic, but this is theoretically true. Practically, it is not 100% pure BCC. Somewhere, some atoms are mismatched. If I say 100% FCC, it is theoretically true. Practically, some atoms are moving. Some atoms are missing. Am I audible? So, as crystal structure is not perfect, practically, some imperfection in the structure is there. And this is why it is possible for deforming and cutting. Otherwise, it was very difficult. If dislocation जर नसते तर एखादं डिफॉर्मेशन करणे किंवा कोल्ड वर्किंग किंवा हॉट वर्किंग वॉज व्हेरी डिफिकल्ट टास्क. सो imperfections जिथे असतात, where is the imperfection, where is the missing of atoms, voids, different structure is there. When you are going to when you are going to apply the pressure, actually movement of the atom will start. Kamzor kadi, we can say kamzor kadi. You can take one page, and if you try it, or if you take any thread, where somewhere there is a less power, where if your page have a little less cut, so cutting will start from that position. Try to understand. Where if you put small cut on the paper and if you pull, your tearing of the paper will start from that position. Take second page where I will show you demo. Suppose this is page. It is plain now. There is no any cut. I require more efforts. I am pulling now. I require more efforts. Definitely, after a little more efforts, it will get teared. Now, I will create one imperfection. This is imperfection. Now, same effort if I apply, you find it is get teared. What is this? So, always in the atomic layers also, where there is imperfection, the displacement will start from that position. And that is called as motion of dislocation. And this globular structure provides better moment of dislocation than lamellar. If it is better moment, means easy to cut, easy to deform. That's why we can say globular structure have better stability. How to show it here? 5 minutes are remaining. I will complete. Draw this. This is lamellar pearlite. And this is globular pearlite. Make it dark. And these locations are symbolically shown by this symbol. So these dislocations can't move easily. But here you see the continuous movement of dislocation due to globular pearlite. You can draw this figure. And that's why globular pearlite gives better machinability. Now, last point, 3-4 minutes are required. Next line, write down. Patenting. Patenting. Patenting and isothermal annealing. So in last lecture, you have drawn temperature versus time diagram. So two more diagrams are there. Patenting. 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 Write down. It is isothermal process in which samples are heated to the predetermined temperature there for sufficient time, soaked there for sufficient time, and then transferred to the constant temperature bath. Transferred to the constant temperature bath, which gives fine pearlite and upper benite, which gives mixture of fine pearlite and upper benite. Full stop. Next line. Isothermal annealing. Isothermal annealing only gives pearlite structure, whereas patenting gives fine pearlite plus upper benite and has better strength than annealed structure. Full stop. Patenting process is carried out for wire drawings or wires. Patenting process is carried out for wires to improve their strength. Isothermal annealing and this is patenting. You are in the painting range, just below nose. Upper benite plus fine pearlite. So if you want strength, so benite is harder than pearlite. I already taught you in iron carbide stereotype diagram. Coarse pearlite, fine pearlite, upper benite, lower benite. martensite. So if you want little more strength and ductility, both things, only ductility is there, good ductility can be achieved by annealing, but along with it, little strength is required. So some phase which have little more hardness, there should be some content. So 50 more or depends upon percentage of how you are cooling. So mixture of upper benite and fine perlite, both things are achieved, strength as well as this ductility. So just below nose, don't draw it above. So you should be little in benthic region. This line, horizontal line is, you are keeping it at constant temperature bar. So this process is called as patenting. It was asked for 2-3 marks earlier 2-3 times. That's why I have taken it. Okay. So we will stop here. In next class, we will start normalizing, and I will draw such figure, and I will explain you what is exact difference in annealing and normalizing, and then microstructure changes. Okay. Thank you very much. Sir.